The only time that I ran into the two of them together was once on this August pelagic off of North Carolina. All three of us had decided independently, or at least I was independent. I don't know whether Greg and Al at that time were working together because Greg had just about run out of money and he could use whatever help he could get from Al. Anyway, whether that was a deciding factor or not, I don't know. But on two occasions, one was with Al on Gamble, and the other time was Al with Greg Miller off of North Carolina. They both, what they did is they teased me by telling me how high their number was in their big year so far. And I really didn't care because I knew no matter what their number was, they couldn't win. And they couldn't win because I knew about birds that I had been called about that they didn't know about. I had, for example, in January, I had a Siberian accenter in Anchorage. Those guys never got up there to see it. They had a rufous cap warbler down on the Rio Grande on Lake Amistad. They didn't know about that, I guess. It had been seen on the Christmas census the previous year, and the bird stayed all winter long. So I got to see it. To get there, you had to take a rowboat, or a motorboat rather, 30, 35 miles, and they may not have had that facility. But I had friends down there who arranged everything and got me there, and they were wonderful. And we eventually got to see the bird. There were lots of birds that I got to see that they didn't. They didn't understand or weren't willing to stop everything and you go at the drop of a hat to the next rarity. Now, I had one other advantage that Greg didn't have, aside from finances. I had bought books of ticket for all of North America from Continental Airlines. Yeah, at that time you could do it, but I don't know if the other guys did it. See, now, in my case, these were senior tickets, because I was a senior, and for almost every year that I was chasing, I was booking between anywhere from 50 to 100,000 miles a year just with Continental. With other airlines, I pushed past 100,000 easily. I was the most traveled birder in North America in the 80s and 90s. And it's possible maybe other years than that. The point is, when it came to chasing a bird, all I wanted to know was where is it being seen and how fast can I get there. Some guys would say, well, I'll wait a week to see if the reports keep coming in, and by then the fare will have dropped after a week so I can save a few bucks. I thought, nothing doing. Whatever the fare is, I'm not going to worry about it. But when you bought this book of tickets, you forgot about that. The only thing is you didn't get a guaranteed seat if it was less than 2 weeks. But I had status. I had elite status with the airline. So if there was an empty seat in first class, I got it because of all my flying. So I could buy or take my $125 ticket, hand it to the ticket agent, get my boarding pass, and I'm sitting there next to a guy that's paid $2,200 for his seat, and I paid $125, a little less. Only I'd never discuss price with him, because I might start a revolution. And so this is how I was able to travel along. Didn't have to have reservations, just showed up. It's only things that I booked in advance, like I knew when I was going to go to Attu. I knew when I was going to go to High Island. I knew when I was going to go to some of the places in California. I didn't know a lot of other places if there was a rare bird around, and that's what I used those fancy tickets for. That year, we did have a group of birders from New Jersey who had come in mass at least to gamble. And most of the people that I saw all knew I was doing a big year, and we were hoping I'd do well. It so happened that in the fall, I only got one bird on gamble, a gray-tailed tattler. Everything else I had already seen somewhere, either in the spring or some other place, and so I only added one bird there. Yeah. Well, I also had, fairly well known by then. I had people calling me, leaving messages with my wife. if I wasn't home, there's a such and such in such and such a place, and I'd call at least every night. She knew where I was and so forth, and she would relay any information that would be of interest to me. It's like I was in Virginia in the spring, and I call home, and there's a white-throated robin in Benson State Park. Now, that was, I think, the second record. The first one was on private land. Nobody was even able to get to it except by invitation, and I wasn't one of the invitees some years before. Now they call it the white-throated thrush, same bird. So I left my car at the airport in Virginia, raced down to McAllen, Texas, get out to Benson State Park, see the bird, head back to Virginia, get my car. But that's what I felt you had to do if you want to get all these birds. Now, some of these birds will stick around. Okay, you've saved a few bucks. But if you're going, doing a big year is not a fun enterprise. If you want to enjoy birding, don't do a big year. If you have a question as to whether your relationship with your wife or your spouse could be in jeopardy, by all means, don't even consider it. It's a selfish endeavor. It's something that you're saying it's for me, my, me, I, that kind of business. Now, I'm a lucky guy. I had that one wife in 100,000 or more who trusted me and who said, if that's what you want to do, go ahead and do it. My wife said to me, there's only one thing. Yeah, one thing I ask. I said, what's that? She said, call me every night. I said, you got a deal. And so, indeed, and our marriage lasted for over 50 years.